Will books survive the digital age? With a show of hands, how many of you enjoy reading printed books or hard copy books? How many of you prefer reading through an electronic device? With the introduction of Kindles, smartphones, iPads, and tablets, it is no longer necessary to be purchasing hard copy books. However, I hope that through today's discussion, I will be able to prove to you and convince you that physical books are much better than ebooks. Growing up in an environment where those electronic devices did not exist, nor did ebooks, I believe that it is important that physical books are still being used. Hello everyone, my name is Bethany Ancheta, and today I am going to be discussing the pros, cons, benefits, and disadvantages of both ebooks and hard copy books, but how hard copy books are superior. First, we're going to be discussing the opposing side, ebooks. Now, I'm not going to say that everything about ebooks are wrong, because there are a lot of benefits and good reasons why we believe that ebooks are better. So we're going to be discussing those right now. The first pro is that they are easier to attain. According to Derek Haynes in his article, How Many Kindle Ebooks Are There in the Amazon Kindle Store? There are 48.5 million ebooks available on Amazon. So this just clearly shows how easy it is to retrieve one. The second reason is that it is cheaper. It is considered that ebooks are much cheaper than your regular printed books, and this is a quite obvious reason. This screenshot right here just goes to show that a Kindle version is $0 while a paperback is $10.82. The last reason is that they take up no space. With the use of Kindles, tablets, and iPads, hundreds and even thousands of ebooks can be stored on one thin tablet that weighs less than a pound. Now, I know what you're all thinking. These are really solid reasons, and who would ever want to read a printed book when you have something as convenient as a Kindle? I can read them on my phone, or on my laptop, or on my iPad. Well, unfortunately, there are some health concerns that have been brought to my attention relating to electronic books. Reason one is that they strain your eyes. Reading an ebook is no different than watching Netflix on your TV, scrolling through Instagram on your smartphone, or typing out a 10-page paper on your tablet or laptop. Believe it or not, there's actually a condition called computer vision syndrome, and here are some comments recorded by WebMD. They say, when you work on a computer, your eyes react to images constantly moving and changing, shifting focus, sending rapidly varying images to the brain. All these jobs require a lot of effort from your eye muscles. According to Bausch & Lomb website, some side effects of staring at an electronic device for too long are eye strain, blurred vision, headaches, dry eyes, and neck and shoulder pain. Another reason why ebooks are not as reliable as your printed books are that they, along with almost everything else in the world, are dependent on technology. Unless downloaded already into the device, we are unable to read them without Wi-Fi. Second technology con, if you forget to charge your device, you are unable to read your material. For example, if your textbook were downloaded onto your device that unfortunately has died and you don't have its charger, you have no way in retrieving your lessons. And I am speaking from personal experience. How many of you were affected by the internet outage that happened about a week ago? Because of that, I was unable to read all of my school materials from my online classes, throwing off my complete schedule. If I chose to have purchased the printed version of my textbook, all of that stress could have been avoided. The last con I would like to discuss in reading through an electronic device is that they make us skim rather than actually reading thoroughly. In an extremely insightful article titled Your Paper Brain and Your Kindle Brain Aren't the Same Thing, it discusses the neuroscience behind the way we read things that are electronic versus those on paper. How many of you skim an article that your professor emailed you, or skim through a text that you received? We have developed a new type of reading, non-linear reading, and according to Jiming Liu and the research on studying reading behavior in the digital environment, they stated that the screen-based reading behavior is characterized by more time spent on browsing and scanning, keyword spotting, one-time reading, and reading more selectively. While less time is spent on in-depth reading and concentrated reading, decreasing sustained attention is also noted. This just clearly shows that when we have pixels in front of us, we have a difficult time focusing in in-depth reading. which should be extremely alarming knowing how technology dependent our younger generations are becoming. With all of this said, I would not be fair to you guys if I said that there weren't cons to reading hard copy books, because there are. And unfortunately, just like ice cream, so delicious and beautiful and magical, it also has cons. The first con is that they take up space. Now, if you are an extreme bookworm, you would not find this an issue. But let's be honest, books can take up a lot of space, and they can be extremely hard to let go of and get rid of, especially if you have an emotional connection. They also take a longer time to acquire. Alright, so like I said in the beginning, there are already 48 million books available on the internet with just a touch of a button. And unfortunately, with printed books, they will take some time to acquire. They also cost more. While this may be true, according to Investopedia, the cost of printing a book is actually only 8% worth of the cost, which is realistically not that much at all. In fact, as I was researching and finding this slide, it also took a while for me to find a hard copy that was more expensive. This book is cheaper in the paperback version than the Kindle version, so is this one. This is from my own observation, but I noticed that books that were very popular cost more on the Kindle version than on the paperback. And the cause of this is possibly that because since ebooks are readily available after purchase, publishers aim to raise up the price. Now we're going to be discussing my favorite part, the pros of hard copy books. First, I'm going to be discussing the emotional benefits reading a printed book. For starters, a printed book is tangible, and from a young age, children learn better when working with their hands, or learning tactically. When reading a book to a child, which do you think they learn more from? Turning each page physically, or turning a page on a Kindle, or swiping your finger, the Kindle? Electronic devices eliminate the emotional connection, and that is why so many of us relate to the books to the feeling of nostalgia. Because growing up, we had older people read to us using physical books. Physical copies also strengthen patience because they require us to read slower, creating more in-depth processes of learning rather than skimming. And lastly, reading from a physical copy is much more enjoyable than reading a Kindle. Yes, Kindles are convenient, but they remove the nostalgic feeling of sitting down and turning each page. Now, a good chunk of you probably don't care about the emotional connections, which is why I would like to show you that there are scientific benefits as well. In comparison to ebooks, physical copies are much easier on the eyes and produce little to no strain. According to Why Digital Reading is no substitute for print, Naomi Baring did a study on 429 university students and revealed that majority of them complained of strained eyes after reading digitally. With printed books, we don't have to worry about that. Readers of print books absorb and remember more of the plot than the readers of ebooks do, and according to a study done in 2014 in Italy, print readers scored higher in other areas such as empathy, immersion in the book, and understanding of the narrative. Scientists believe that this is related to the sensation of holding a book in your hands. And last but not least, they help us sleep better. For example, if you are doing a homework assignment online, it will be much harder for you to fall asleep. Study after study have shown that through blue light from your screen can toy with your melatonin levels and circadian cycles. So, if you want to get a better sleep after your long study session, read a printed book. In conclusion, I am in no way saying that we need to completely eliminate ebooks out of our lives, because there are a lot of solid benefits to them. But what I am saying is that we need to stress the importance of printed books in our schools and in our society, and that the physical, intellectual, and mental benefits that one can acquire through reading them. I hope that through this substantial evidence, you are now reconsidering your stance and can see that printed books produce strong minds.